Hey everybody, tonight we're going to have a look at my Angelfish tank. We're going to do a little maintenance on it tonight, and in particular I want to get in there and work on the filter. I'm not really sure what's going on. It doesn't really need a water change, but what I'm noticing in here is a very low flow coming out of my filter. I have one section of it turned upwards, so it gives me some surface agitation, and you can see it's not doing a whole lot. And my surface skimmer is also not doing a whole lot. When I raise the float there, it doesn't really actually draw anything from the surface. And you can see I've got this green scum floating on the surface. That's the green cyanobacteria. And it does grow in this tank. You can see some of the sort of dark green that's growing on the plants in there is that cyanobacteria. And of course I have it down here on the bottom. You can see that bright green material there is the cyanobacteria. So it is in this tank, and it thrives in slow moving water, low oxygen type conditions. And now that I'm not getting any kind of real surface agitation or anything, I'm just developing this green film on the surface. So something's going on with the filter. I just changed it recently, but it is apparently still clogged or something. I'm not really sure what's going on with this. So tonight we're going to get in there, we're going to have a look at it, we're going to tear it apart, and while we're in there we're going to talk about the filter a little bit, and then we'll do a simple water change and a before and after. So sit tight, let me get started, and I'll see you when we get to the filter. Alright, now I'm not expecting to find anything extraordinary in here. At worst we're probably going to see some really dirty filter, but I don't really know what else we might find. And see, it doesn't even really look that dirty. I changed this out not long ago. Sorry about the light, it's sort of behind us. This isn't the best position for me to film in. So the water gets pumped in down through here and into the bottom section, and then it rises back up through all these trays. So the lower down we go, the dirtier the material is going to become. So it's probably been, I don't know, 3 weeks maybe since I've done a filter change on this tank. Not very long. See, now we're getting down into the damaged trays from before. I don't know how well that's coming out on camera, but you can see this whole area is damaged. So once the water gets down here, it's not being forced downwards anymore, it's beginning to swirl around. Now, I've been saying for a long time that I'm going to shoot some video about this type of filter and the problems I've had with it and my interaction with the company. I still plan on doing that. I am still waiting on something, so be patient. I got a few more weeks before I find out for sure what's going on, and I will do a video about this filter specifically and about the problems I've had with the UV light and so on and so forth. So you can see it's not very dirty at all, which makes me wonder if it isn't something to do with this. I've never taken one of these apart. I know this plate here comes off fairly easy, or it used to fall off all the time. Yeah, there we go. So I guess the filter is up in this part, and I've never actually pulled one of these apart to see how it gets cleaned. There's 4 little screws right here. I guess they would come off, and I would get in there and clean it. So maybe I'll just take it over and run some water through it and see if I can't get it rinsed out, and we'll put it back together and see how that goes. So otherwise, this is just going to be a basic filter change. As I expected, I didn't see anything unusual. It's not even very dirty, so possibly I am getting a little bit, there's no water in there yet. Possibly I'm getting a little clogged up in here. So we'll see if we can't get that cleaned out a little bit. And then we'll put this back together and see what happens. So sit tight, and I will see you for the next part. Alright everybody, here we are on the other end of the water change. It hasn't been very long, so there's still a lot of bubbles and everything in the tank, but I wanted to finish this up tonight. When I was in the filter, I never really did find anything. I took the top part into the other room where my sink is, and I ran water down into the intake, and I squirt some hydrogen peroxide down in there in case there was any gunk growing in there, anything living. You know, the hydrogen peroxide would have broken that up and dissolved a little bit of that. And I sort of shook it around and did my best to sort of rinse the inside out without really taking it apart or anything. And when I put it back together, I had a lot of trouble getting the water to start flowing again. Normally you can just let gravity sort of start filling it back up and it'll siphon in. And it really was not doing that. I pumped and pumped and pumped and it just would not fill back up. So eventually I had to take it apart again, or at least open it up and take the top off and physically fill the canister to prime it. And then once it was almost full, I could get it started by pumping a few more times and plugging it in, and it started running again. So something is definitely not running right with it. I'm guessing it's probably just needs a good cleaning, and I probably really do need to take that apart and get in there and really look at what's inside of it and give it a rinse out. You do have to do that occasionally with any kind of filter, whether it's a hang on the back or not. Sometimes you really just got to get in there and clean that impeller. Just stuff gets gunked up on it and whatnot. So that's probably what's going on. I will do that next time I get in there. I did get enough flow going that it's not a lot, but I am getting some surface skimming, and that's good enough for me. It's still functioning. You can see I got a little more activity on the surface now. So I did open it up a little bit, which lets me know, or leads me to believe anyway, that that is what the problem is. I got to get in there and open that top section up and really increase the amount of flow. I also stuck my hand back here where this power head is in the back, and I was beginning to wonder whether it was even working, because it just seemed like there was not really much activity in the back of the tank. But you can see those roots back there are now flowing around a little bit, and that's just a really lightweight power head. I think it only does 400 gallons an hour. I'm not sure what it is, but I really feel like I should get a bigger power head in there working on that. I think I've got a 650 gallon per hour in my Gourami tank. I'm not really sure, but I know it's bigger than the one that's in this tank, and I now have so much plants in here that really breaks up the flow of the water and really slows it down. So having a slightly larger power head would probably do me some good in here anyway. So maybe that'll be a project for the future. Make sure you're subscribed, that way you won't miss it if I do add anything or change this tank around. Don't forget, this is my Angelfish tank. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you real soon in the next one.